Hello viewers, welcome to KUTV. This is Elimu Live, Kenya's premier educational television. My name is Majune. I'm a teacher of English and Literature. I teach at Odienya Senior School in Kisumu County. Thank you and welcome to our today's lesson. So today we're going to learn about minute writing. So minute writing is one of the forms of functional writing items taught in senior schools, but it starts in standard 7 and cuts across up to Form 4. So the introduction of minute writing is from primary school, and it cuts across up to Form 4, that is in 844 system. So this is an important lesson to all the students across all the nation. And before this, remember we always have this educational program in KUTV weekdays from 2 p.m. up to 4 p.m. That is 2 sessions. And then on Saturdays from 8:30 up to 10:30 a.m. 3 sessions. So these sessions are beneficial to all our students, right from kindergarten to primary school to junior school and also to senior school. So today we are going to learn about minute writing, the way it is on the wall. And before we go to that, under functional writing, we have a lot of items that are taught or rather studied under functional writing, almost 50 items, and they are categorized into 5. So the first category is public writing, where we'll find an item such as the notices. We also have institutional writing. This is where minute writing falls into. Number 3, we have social writing, such as friendly letters. And then number 4, personal writing, like an autobiography. And lastly, we have study writing, such as a synopsis. So functional writing is tested in English paper 1, question 1, and it is normally 20 marks. So sometimes you can just have one item being tested. For instance, it can just be a minute, and you're tested and you're expected to score 20 marks under one item. Sometimes the examiner can test 2 items. It can be a short item and a long one, or a short and 2 short functional writing items. So when we come to minute writing, in the recent years, minute writing was tested in KCSE paper 1 in 2024, same as in 2015 and in 2002. So as a candidate, you should be ready to tackle any question from any of these functional writing items in paper 1, question 1 of the KCSE examination paper. So let's delve into minute writing. But before this, we have to look at the objectives of this lesson. So the first objective is the definition of minutes. By the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to explain what minutes are. The second objective is to identify the parts of the minutes. So when you're talking about the identification of the parts of minutes, this is where the format, or rather the layout of the minutes fall into. Number 3 is understand the process of minute writing. Understand the process of minute writing. And our last objective is that a learner should be able to write simple and accurate minutes of a meeting. So the fourth objective is to write minutes. So let's get back to our first objective, which is the definition of minutes. So when you're talking about minutes, Minutes refer to the official written record of the important proceeding of a meeting. So these are the official, or rather the formal written recordings or the proceedings of a meeting. So anytime we have a meeting, or a meeting is supposed to take place, you should know the meaning of minutes and why you're going to have that meeting. So before members of a meeting converge into a room or a conference hall to have a meeting, the secretary is supposed to make sure that all the members have the information of whatever is going to take place during the meeting. That is where agenda as a functional writing item and also notification of a meeting. Notification of a meeting comes in. So before a meeting takes place, all the members of the meeting must have an agenda. And this agenda, they will get it in the notification of a meeting. So the notification is of a meeting. These two are also functional writing items. They are introduced in Form 2. They are written separately from the minutes, but they are part of the minutes. So when in a notification of a meeting, members are given a notice, and that is why in some books or in some sites you'll find that it is written a notice of a meeting. So notice of a meeting or a notification of a meeting is just a letter whereby all the members of that group or that organization or a company or society will have to know the nature of the meeting, where the meeting is going to take place, the timing, and the day that the meeting is going to take place. And in that notification of a meeting, they will have the agenda, or rather the business to be transacted during that meeting. So up to that point, all the members, they have the idea of what they are going to discuss into the meeting. So it is the work of the secretary that now that the members of this group have converged, the secretary will now have the mandate to write the minutes of that meeting. So we also have to note that in minutes, we are not going to write a word for word record of everything that is going to be discussed. And aside that, we are not going to, for instance, write the names of the people in that meeting, in the minutes, because anytime, whatever the secretary is supposed to note down is the resolutions, whatever they've been discussed and now the members have agreed upon to is what now the secretary will have to note down in the minutes, and not necessarily everything that was discussed. So up to that point, let's look at the title of minutes. So under the title of minutes, this is what you are expected, or a student is expected to do. So this is identifying the parts of minutes. Number one, we will look at the heading or the title. So the title should have the name of the group or club or organization, and then we must also have the date, the time, and the venue. All these must be captured under the title of minute writing. So when you talk of the name of the group, it can be a debate club, it can be the member of the staff, it can be maybe a self-help group, and that name must be captured in the title. We must also have the date when the meeting has taken place. Remember, when you are writing minutes, you are writing it in passive voice and in past tense. So it is something that has happened, and so this is just a record of what took place during that meeting. So an example of a title of minutes. So you write it in capital letters, minutes. So let's look at this sample of a title. So this is a sample of a title. As a candidate, you must make sure that your title is written at the center or at the middle of a writing material. Whether it's a foolscap or a booklet or whatever it is, the title must be placed at the center of that writing material. And it should be underlined. So you underline the title. So let's look at whatever you expected to capture in the title of your minutes. The first one, I said that the name of the group. So here we have the Wellington Debaters, and I've captured the name as the Wellington Debate Club. The meeting took place on 1st August 2026, and it was from 2 p.m. and the venue is, or rather was, the computer room. So looking at these, I've said that minutes must be written in past tense. That is why you cannot say that the meeting will be held or was held. No. So because you're writing it in passive and in past tense, so you write held on, meaning that it has already taken place. So minutes of the Wellington Debate Club meeting held on 1st August 2026 from 2 p.m. at the computer room. So that is how the title should be. But again, still at identifying the parts of the minutes, remember the format of minute writing remains the same for all types of meetings. Whether it is in school, for instance, if it's a club, maybe peace club or debate club or any type of a club, whether it is maybe a self-help group or whether it is teachers in their staff room. So the title will remain as it is. But again, anytime you get to a question, there is always the intention of the examiner. What is it that the examiner wants you to write on the paper? So you can find a question that will tell you that maybe this is the first meeting that the Wellington debaters are having. So you're supposed to write the minutes of that, meeting. At the same time, we also have subsequent meetings. So the examiner can be very specific that this is the second meeting that the Wellington debaters are having. So you must make sure that in your title, you must capture that this is the second meeting, or maybe if it is quarterly or whatever type of a meeting it is. For example, in this case, if the examiner had asked or had said that it is the second meeting that the Wellington debaters are having, so second must appear somewhere. For instance, you can say that minutes of the second meeting or you can capture it as minutes of the Wellington Debate Club second meeting. So this second and second must appear. These are two different samples whereby you are now going to capture, because the question had said that it is the second meeting that the Wellington debaters are having. So it means that you must capture second. So you can say minutes of the second meeting of the Wellington Debate Club members, debate club held on, and then you continue and you capture the date, the time, and the venue. At the same time, you can write minutes of the Wellington Debate Club second meeting held on 1st August 2026 from 2 p.m. So the title, the name of the group, the date, the time, and the venue must be captured in the title. And again, if the question is so specific that this is the second meeting or the third meeting or quarterly meeting, you must also capture that in your title, because the examiner is not just writing it there for the purpose of beautifying your paper, but rather to test if you're creative enough, if you can comprehend that question and answer it the way it's supposed to be answered. So another something else about the identifying the parts of the minute, or rather the format, is that once you are done with the heading, you come to the attendance. Number 2, we have the attendance. And in attendance, we can have 3 or 4 subtitles, whereby you can have members present, and then those ones who have sent apologies, members absent, and lastly in attendance. So here we will have, under attendance, we will have at least it can be maybe 2 subtitles or 3 or 4, depending on the nature of the question. So the members present, for a meeting to take place, at least you must have not only one person, but many people. So here you can have, for instance, maybe 10 members. 7, 8, okay. You can have 8 members, and you must number the members. You will number the members in their seniority, whereby the first person, and remember this is a formal record, so you must have at least 2 names. For instance, you can say Tom, Kamau. Remember, this will be the chairperson. Number 2, you can talk of Dominic, Otieno. So this one becomes the vice chairperson. And then the next person will be secretary, treasurer, organizing secretary, in that order. So here, members present, you underline. You can just write present, or you write members present. List the names of the members present in their seniority, maybe the chairperson, vice chairperson, secretary, in that order. Then you come to members who sent their apologies. So you can just write apologies, or members absent with apologies. For the purposes of exam, you can maybe have 2 of them. And of course, the question will always direct you. For instance, you can be told that 2 members sent apologies. So you must make sure that under apologies, you have the name of the 2 members in full, not just one name. Then members absent, you can just write absent, you underline. But remember, the A's must be capital, P capital here, and I capital here. So members absent. So this is the difference between apologies and absent without apologies. This one, they sent their apologies. Maybe they said that I won't be able to make it to the meeting because I'm sick, or I have another important function to engage into. So those ones sent apologies. But the one who is absent without apology, they did not send their apologies. They did not tell any of the members, or maybe the chair, that they will not be able to make it to the meeting, and so their whereabouts are not known. So you capture them under absent. So you can also have maybe 1 member, but again, like I've said, remember, the content will you'll always get the content from the question, but the format will remain the same from the start to the end of all minutes. So number 4, we come to in attendance as the 4th subtitle under attendance. So in attendance, these are also known as the ex officio members. These are not members of the club, but rather maybe visitors or any other person, but this person is not registered as a member of the club. So let's look at a school setup. You can have a club, like for instance, I'm using the Wellington Debate Club. So we have the chairperson, who is a student, the vice chairperson, the secretary, all of them are students. But you have the patron of that club. So the patron is not a member of the club, but anytime this patron attends this meeting, they are captured under in attendance. So maybe today we can have 2 in attendance. You have your patron, and this time round came with the principal. So you'll capture the names of in attendance. For example, you can talk of Mary Akini. So this is the patron. And then you can have Kelvin Ochieng as the principal. So these ones in attendance, these ones are not students. They are not members of the Wellington Debate Club, but rather they're just visitors. Maybe they're coming to give advice or maybe give solutions in one or two things. And that is why when you are writing minutes, remember you will not capture the names of you will not capture the names of the members when you're writing minutes, but you can capture the name of maybe the principal. The principal advised this and this, and then the patron also advised this and this. So these ones in attendance, you can capture them in minute writing. But for the members, we will only write the resolution and whatever was agreed upon during the discussion. So once you're done with attendance, the next thing we will look at preliminaries. So the next subtitle is preliminaries. Let me just write it here. So before we go to, okay, let me just write preliminaries. So this is the fourth thing that must be captured in minute writing. So up to this point, we've already started our minute, and so you must number your minutes. So the number 1 minute will always be the preliminaries, and this is how you're supposed to capture it, or rather number it. So this will be our minute 1. Of August. So this is, we have here the preliminaries, and then you underline it. So under preliminaries, these whatever, like for instance, before a meeting starts, maybe the chairperson can call the meeting into order, maybe introduce the new members, the visitors, before the members of the group. So under preliminaries, this is where you will write the opening remarks and introductions. Maybe you can write that the meeting started with a word of prayer from one of the members who are present, and then you go to maybe the introductions. The chairperson asks the members to introduce themselves before our visitors, before the visitors. So that is what you will capture under preliminaries. But remember, you're writing it in past tense, so this is something that has already happened, and that's why you will talk of the meeting started, not the meeting starts, but rather the meeting started with a word of prayer from from Lillian Kamau, and then you go to the second sentence. Maybe you say that the chair welcomed the members and asked them to introduce themselves before the visitors. So that is under preliminaries. So once you're done with the preliminaries, we go to the third part of minute writing, which is confirmation of previous minutes. So confirmation of previous minutes, like I said when we started, that it can be the first meeting that you're having, or it can be a subsequent meeting. So in this case, confirmation of the previous minutes, there must have been meeting that took place some time back. And so in this confirmation of previous minutes, you just want to confirm if whatever has been read by the secretary are exactly what was discussed in the previous minutes. So under confirmation of the previous, remember this is our second item, and so it must also be minuted. So this one will be minute 2. So you write it like this, and then reading and confirmation. Reading and confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. So in most cases, a lot of students mess when it comes to reading and when it comes to this title here. So you'll find that some students will write reading and confirmation of the meeting. Whatever we are reading here are not meeting but minutes. So you can write confirmation of previous minutes. So this refers to minutes that were written previously or in our previous meeting. So whatever we are reading and confirming here are minutes and not meeting. So some students are fond of writing reading and confirmation of the previous meeting. We cannot read a meeting, we cannot confirm a meeting, but rather we read and confirm minutes. And that is why you must capture confirmation of minutes. So you can capture it as reading and confirmation of the previous minutes. You can capture it as reading and confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting, as long as whatever is happening here is the confirmation of the minutes and their previous minutes. So you can write it in that order, reading and confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. So under reading and confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting, what happens here is that the secretary goes through, or rather reads to the members, the minutes of the previous meeting. So it can be the secretary. Let's assume that the secretary was absent during this meeting. So of course the secretary is absent and has sent apologies. You will capture the secretary under apologies, and then you write that the secretary is now the chairperson will ask one person, any member present, to read the previous minutes. So after that has taken place, now once it has happened, the minutes have been read, one of the members will have to confirm if whatever has been read is true, was discussed in the previous meeting, and then another person will have to second that indeed that is the true record of what was discussed. So this one you can capture it in this manner. The secretary read the minutes of the previous meeting. The members went through the minutes and confirmed them as a true record of the previous meeting. This was proposed by Kamau J as being true records of the previous meeting, and seconded by Achieng William as the true records of the previous minutes. So once that one has happened, we go to our next item, which is now minute 3. So minute 3 will always be matters arising. So before we delve into matters arising, I want us to go back to what I said when we were just starting this lesson. I said that it can be the first meeting that the club are having, or it can be a subsequent meeting. So let's assume if it's a first meeting, are we going to have reading and confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting? And then are we going to have matters arising if it is the first meeting? No. So always read the question and understand if it is the first meeting or if it's a subsequent meeting. So if it is the first meeting, we will just start with the preliminaries, and then we go to the main agenda or the business to be transacted that day during that meeting. But if it's a subsequent meeting, we will have reading and confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting, because previously we had a meeting. And then matters arising will always, these matters will always arise from the previous meeting. So here, for instance, you read a question, and then from the question, you are told that we had 2 matters arising from the previous minutes. So you must also capture these 2 matters arising from the previous meeting. So I want you to check, to look at what will happen when you have, for instance, maybe two matters arising. So you'll have matter 1. This is how you will write it. Remember previously you had a meeting, and those meetings had numbers the same as these ones, maybe 1/08/2026. So you come to that, that matters arising. So you will leave some space from the margin, and then you date it, you backdate the minute number. So let's assume this one is the 3rd minute, 8 August. So this one is going to be, for example, maybe this was the 4th minute of, let me write it first of all. So this is, the minute number is going to change. This is matters arising from the previous meeting. So because this meeting had taken place, this was the minute number of that minute previously in our previous meeting. So for instance, let's assume that minute 4 in our previous meeting was about debate, training, materials. Debate, training, materials. See, during your previous meeting, under minute 4, so you can see that this one is now 4. The number here has changed. It's no longer 8, but it is 6. And the minute here is minute. Okay, let me write here minute 5 so that you don't confuse that maybe I've written 3 then 4. So this is minute 5 stroke 06 stroke 2026. This one is different from this because this one you're citing it from the previous minutes, and so the minute number will change. So maybe previously you had talked about debate training materials, and so the chair is supposed to tell the members what happened, if whatever you discussed previously was implemented or not. So maybe previously you had talked over debate training materials. So the secretary reported that the debate books and other training materials requested during the previous meeting had been obtained. So maybe previously you had said that members should be given books and other training materials for the betterment of the club, or maybe meetings in that. So here the secretary will now report that indeed it happened, and so that one will be captured under matters arising. So members are encouraged to use them during their preparation. So you also have another matter arising, so that you will write here that the materials were obtained. So we go to the next one. So this was minute 7 stroke 06 stroke 2026. So you have to note, like, for these minute numbers here, this one here, for instance, is June, and this one is August. So it means that there was a meeting that took place in June, and so in June, this minute 5 was debate training materials, and in the same June, we had registration for competitions. Registration for competitions. So members were expected to register for the upcoming competitions. Did they register? So this one will fall under matters arising. You discussed this previously in June when you are having a meeting, and you said that all members should register with at least 200 shillings for them to be bona fide members of the club, and also for the upcoming competitions. So from the report, remember we said from the attendance, we said that we can have the patron also giving advice or maybe resolutions from the meeting, in the meeting, and so whatever they are going to maybe advise, any piece of advice will be, their names will be captured, unlike for the members of the club. So here you can say, for instance, the patron informed the members that the club had been registered for the upcoming debate competition. Members were reminded to prepare adequately and observe the competition rules. So this one here, you will capture that the patron responded and the response was this way. So that one will be under matters arising. So let's assume that the question said that only one matter arise from the meeting. So here you will only have one matter arise. Don't write two, because the question will be very specific and closed in this case. But if it is open, you can have maybe one or two matters arising. For the sake of exam purposes, at least have something under matters arising. So from matters arising, so remember with matters arising, these are issues from the previous meeting that require follow-up, further discussion, or action. And so they are mainly unfinished businesses or follow-up actions from the previous meeting. So be creative and maybe have one matter arising from the previous minutes. But again, remember that the minute number will have to change under minute writing. So our fourth item after matters arising, we now come to the main business or the agenda of the day. So some question the examiner will be very specific. You will be told that only 3 businesses were transacted during that meeting. So this means that we will have 3 main agenda. So remember, agenda is in plural and singular form is agenda. So we'll have the first agenda, we'll have the second agenda, the third agenda, but during this specific meeting, when the secretary was issuing out the notification of a meeting, it had agenda, and in this agenda we had 3 main agenda, which is not preliminaries, reading and confirmation, and matters arising. So this is just the format, or rather the layout to be followed whenever you're writing a minute, and if it is not the first meeting ever. So the agenda to be transacted this day, let's assume that with the debate club you had maybe 3 or 4 agenda, and the first one was review of previous club activities. So this one will now be minute 4. You will not leave some space from the margin the same way you did it with matters arising, but rather start from the margin. This becomes minute 4, 04 stroke 08 stroke 2026. So this one will be review of previous club activities, review of previous club activities, review of previous club activities. Write it well and then underline it. So under review of previous club activities, the members will have to have a discussion. Did this thing happen? Like, did we attend any club competition? We were supposed to maybe clean up the nearest market. Did it happen? Like that. So you just review whatever happened, the previous activities of the club. The members review the club's previous activities and discuss the successes and challenges experienced during past debate sessions. The patron encouraged. So you have to see that with the noting, whatever the secretary will be noting under the minutes is not the discussions or the different views that the members have, but what was the last thing or the last agreeable, or if it was a vote, what was it that was voted by a majority of the members, or maybe all of them. So you will not say that a member, but rather the members, because it is for the whole team. It is for the whole group, for the all members, and not just an individual. So you say the members reviewed the club's previous activities and discussed the successes and challenges experienced during past debate sessions. So if the patron maybe said 1 or 2, now you can capture whatever the patron said. So it can be the patron encouraged members to improve on areas where the club had performed poorly. So that is about reviewing of the previous club activities. So you can have another minute number here, minute 5. So this next minute will be preparation for upcoming debate competitions. Preparation for upcoming upcoming debate competitions. So this is another agendum, a totally new agendum that is being discussed in this meeting. So we have an upcoming debate competitions. How are you going to prepare as far as this debate competition is concerned, and how far have we reached with the preparation? So this one, the members can discuss. We normally meet at 4, or let us be meeting at 4 and maybe take 50 minutes to go through the motions and then discuss and what have you. So that is just about the debate competition. So you can write that after the discussion had taken place, the members discussed preparations for the upcoming competitions. It was agreed that students should research widely on current affairs and practice debating on different topics. You can see that this is also just an agendum of its own that the members are just discussing during this specific meeting. So up to that, so those are just but 2 main agenda discussed during this meeting. Let's go to another one. So we'll go to, after minute 5, we go to minute 6. Again, you number your minute 6 very well. Minute. So minute 6 will read debate training and practice sessions. Training and practice sessions. So again, the floor will be open for the members of the club to discuss debate training and practice sessions. So here you can say that the club agreed. So look at the words used here. The members reviewed, the members discussed, the members proposed, the club agreed. These are some of the words that you're supposed to use, and not so and so said this, so and so said this, a member said this. So it is the members discussing and agreeing and coming up with the solution, or So in this case, the club agreed to hold regular training sessions every Tuesday and Thursday after classes. Members would practice public speaking, argument development, rebuttals, and teamwork. So this one you agree amongst yourself as members of the club. We are going to have teamwork. We're going to, maybe if you are an opposer, what will you do? If you are a proposer, what will you do? How many minutes? So you discuss all these. So once you're done with the agenda of the day, the question said you only have 3 agenda to be discussed. This was the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. You are done with that. And so what next after the main agenda of the meeting? You now go to A or B. This is any other business. So under any other business, this will be minute 7. Any other business, also known as the A, or rather shortened as A or B. So what happens under any other business? So after the main business, we normally have the A or B, also known as the any other business, also known as A or B. So this is where members raise important matters that maybe were not included in the original agenda. Maybe let's assume a member maybe raised concern about the discipline of other club members, or maybe selection of debate team. So this one under A or B, remember it was not captured under the agenda, but a member maybe just raised a concern about maybe the discipline or maybe the participation of other members. So here, under any other business, you can maybe write, the secretary can note that members were given an opportunity to raise other issues. One member requested that the club should organize an inter-class debate to give students more practice. The proposal was welcomed and will be discussed further in the next meeting. You can also say that maybe the principal informed the members that he would support all the activities of the debate club, and also told them to make sure that they are always punctual with their trading and what have you. So that one you discuss it under any other business. So lastly, once you're done with any other business, you normally come to the last minute item. So this will be minute 8. So under minute 8, adjournment. Adjournment. So adjournment, this means that you've come to the end of the meeting. You've discussed the main business to be transacted during the day. You have discussed any other business, and now you are closing the meeting. So this one, you minute it as, in this case, minute 8/08/2026 will be adjournment. And this one will normally follow a certain structure, there being no other business. The meeting ended at this and this time. So for instance, you can write, the patron thanked all members for their active participation and encouraged them to remain committed to the club. And there being no other business, the meeting ended at 4 or at 3:30 p.m. So in this case, if you want to capture the time that the meeting ended in your title, you can capture it. It is not, you'll not be penalized for capturing the time the meeting ended. For instance, maybe you said that minutes of the Wellington Debate Club meeting held on 1st August 2026 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the computer room. So if you're going to capture it from 2 to 4, you must also make sure that in your adjournment, that is the time that you will capture as the ending time. So there being no, with the adjournment, you will say that the meeting ended at 4 p.m. So lastly, you come to confirmation. Confirmation. So with confirmation, you don't write the minute number. So confirmation, you will have the secretary confirming, and then we'll have the chairperson. So the secretary, you leave some space. You leave some space here for name, date, and signature. Again, the chairperson, name, date, and signature. Here you're going to leave it. You're going to leave this blank, because remember, we have somewhere that you are reading and confirming the minutes of the previous meeting. So next time when you'll be having a meeting, it means that we are going to read that meeting. For instance, if these are the minutes that we're going to have in our next meeting, maybe in November, so you will leave this one blank. And then in that November, when November comes, when you're having a meeting, you will have reading and confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. It is at this time, after the minutes have been confirmed to be the true records of the previous meeting, this is when now the secretary is going to sign and the chairperson is going to sign those minutes that were discussed previously. And so with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. And maybe just to give the main parts of the minutes, we will have in minute writing, we have the heading, attendance, apologies, preliminaries, confirmation of the previous minutes, matters arising, main business, A or B. You can discuss the date of the next meeting in the adjournment. And lastly, we have confirmation. So remember that minute writing carries is a form of functional writing item that is tested in English, paper 1, question 1, and it carries 20 marks. So you can have a question specifically, maybe one question on minute writing whereby you expected to score 20 marks. It is possible as long as you understand. Remember, with our objectives, we said that you must define minutes, let me believe that students, you can define minutes, and then you can also identify the main parts of the minutes. You've understood the process of writing minutes, and lastly, you can write simple and accurate minutes of the meeting. So I've been your teacher of the day. Again, my name is Martha Majune, a teacher of English and Literature at Odienya Senior School in Kisumu County. And remember, this is KUTV, Elimu Live, Kenya's premier educational TV. We have these sessions running weekdays from 2 up to 4 p.m., 2 sessions, and then Saturdays from 8:30 to 10:50 a.m., 3 sessions. The sessions cut across all levels of education, from kindergarten to primary to junior school and to senior school. Thank you so much, and goodbye.